Tesla has started building ventilators in Fremont. Sandy Munro takes a crack at Model Y. I have some new and interesting EV accessories to tell you about. And I end with some info on maintaining your Tesla if you're affected by a stay at home order. This is Tesla Tidbits episode number 584 for April 7th, 2020. As always, this show is sponsored by my supporter Richard. If you're in the market for a new Tesla, please consider using his referral code. Ask your salesperson to use code Richard174 or go direct to the web link ts.la/Richard174 and pick up a 1,000-mile supercharging credit for your new vehicle. We start this week off with what we've been getting pretty much exclusively since all the stay-at-home orders have been issued related to COVID-19, and that's the latest on what Tesla and Elon are doing to help our frontline medical workers battle the virus. Elon's stance on the need for more ventilators shifted pretty quickly from doubting a non-medical company would be able to make them in time for the need to promising Tesla resources to build them. In a video from Tesla's official YouTube channel, we get to see the progress they've made, and wow, they have done a lot in a short time. The brilliance of what they're doing is that they're building things out of Model 3 parts as much as possible. In a schematic shown in the video, you can see that the red-colored parts, which is the vast majority, are all Model 3 parts. As they say in the video, this is great because using these parts prevents Tesla from taking parts that dedicated ventilator manufacturers need to build their own products, while allowing Tesla to supplement the need. What they've accomplished in so short a time is just astounding to me. I wondered aloud to my ER nurse wife if their partnership with Medtronic got them some sort of blueprints to build these things, giving them the kickstart needed to have working prototypes this fast. Or is it just that Tesla engineering is that ridiculously good that you throw any problem whatsoever at them and they crush it? Regardless of the answer here, hats off to the Tesla engineering team on wonderful work. Hopefully the prototypes become production and some folks can get some needed help fast. With the most critically important to humanity topic out of the way, we can return to Tesla's normal primary mission, and that's transitioning everyone to sustainable energy. In case you missed it while bunkered down in your home lately, Tesla still released Model Y to the world, and now Sandy Munro has sourced a performance model for teardown and inspection. If you weren't around for the Model 3 launch, Sandy became an interesting figure in the Tesla sphere when tearing down the Model 3 and laying it bare for the world to see. He initially panned the car, not liking some of the more superficial things that were wrong with it, but you could see the longer that he spent time with it, the more he appreciated it, and then as the teardown progressed, the more he marveled at it. While he notes in his latest series in episode 4 that they sent a spreadsheet of roughly 250 suggestions for improvement on Model 3 to Tesla following that teardown, he still ended up being a fan overall. Which brings us now to Model Y. Sandy wondered about many of the suggestions maybe being implemented in Model Y's engineering, as even in the early teardown he noticed some improvements. The series of videos, of which there are currently 12, go through the teardown of the vehicle and give you a look at the Model Y that you're not going to see anywhere else. The early videos show some small issues with the car, which is sort of how the first videos with Model 3 went, but the latest videos show some nice progress in engineering from Model 3, and Sandy is well pleased with these improvements. Definitely check out munrolive.com, that's MUNRO live.com, where the videos are archived. Each video is pretty short, you can binge them pretty quickly, and any superfan will find them well worth their time. I've noticed late here that for whatever reason they're not featuring all of the videos on the site, so definitely click the YouTube logo on one of the videos to get to the Munro Live YouTube channel and find them all for your enjoyment. Next up on the show is an accessory you'll hopefully never need, but will be glad is now a thing, and the other, something you may well find yourself owning. That first accessory is one that tow companies might do well to begin carrying in their shops. One of the classic reasons someone calls for roadside assistance with a legacy vehicle is running out of gas. In that instance, it's easy to grab a gas can, fill it up, and get that vehicle to a station for a true fill-up. That proverbial gas can isn't a thing for EVs, well, at least until now. Inside EVs shows us that a company called Blink has created a product to fill this need. Much like one of the jumpstart batteries that you see for 12-volt batteries, this product is a portable 9.6 kilowatt power source that can give a significant charge boost to an EV. For my Model S 85D, that would be worth about 30 to 40 miles of range, which would be more than enough to get me to at least another level 2 charger, if not a supercharger, or to my destination. This is a wonderful product to see as it alleviates one of the final drawbacks of owning an EV, which is basically having to flatbed a vehicle if you manage to run it totally out of power. Now for something you might actually own. Ramin, who developed the phenomenal Stats for Tesla app, has come out with yet another app for Tesla owners who have an Apple device. Yes, it's only Apple. He's an Apple developer, so my apologies in advance if you own an Android device. The app is called Super HUD, and it gives Tesla owners the fabled heads-up display that Model 3 reservation holders assumed was coming before we learned details of the car. You start the app, pop your phone on the dash in front of you, and presto, heads-up display. Now this should work for any Tesla, but Model 3 and Model Y especially will be able to take advantage of it. The app features two modes, day mode and night mode. Day mode allows you to simply just have your phone be what amounts to the binnacle in Model S or X, and night mode reverses everything so that it can be projected onto the windshield as a HUD at night. So if you've always wanted a HUD for your Tesla, definitely check it out. It's only $3, so it's a low-risk purchase if you should end up somehow finding it not useful. But if Ramin's other Tesla apps are any indication, you should find your money was well spent. Finally, for this show, we end with the Out of Spec Motoring YouTube channel with some tips on maintaining EVs during all these stay-at-home orders. The main thrust of the video is how to manage your vehicle's charge, which I actually disagree with, but still wanted to bring the video to your attention since it was the inspiration for this tip. In the video, the host mentions that he would recommend setting your charge level to only 50% and leaving the car constantly plugged in. I have a bit of different advice as far as this goes. So he's right in as much as we all know that lithium-ion batteries don't like being fully charged or fully discharged for any long period of time. However, different than if you've gone on vacation or left your car at an airport, you absolutely can manage the battery of the car since you're still in proximity to it. Because you will have some reasons to leave your home even during the stay-at-home orders, I am recommending keeping an 80% charge limit setting on your vehicle, but once you unplug, leave the car unplugged. Since you should only be driving at most 10 to 20 miles in a day, the 80% charge will be way more than enough for your travels. When you return back, you'll likely be somewhere between a 70 and 80% state of charge. Again, I would not plug back in at this point, since you know you're either flat out not going to be using the car the next day, or if you do, it'll be for minimal use. This saves unnecessary charge cycles on the battery. Yes, phantom drain will whittle the battery charge down very slowly over time, but for one thing, it will not be enough to significantly impact your overall charge should you need to use the car. Secondly, you can remedy this by plugging in if you had to. And thirdly, we can actually use that phantom drain as a very long, very slow cycle of the battery over time. But more likely than worrying about any of those three things, you'll probably use your car still at least once a week for groceries. Now, once you get lower than a 50% state of charge, I'd begin to consider plugging the car in to replenish. On most Teslas, a 50% state of charge equates to somewhere between 120 and 190 miles of range, depending on which model you have and what your battery's remaining full capacity is. That is well more than enough to ensure that you can reach a long distance if you had to, but beginning to get to the point where having that extra range to cover you is worth the charge. As we always want to use our vehicles as close to the end of charging them as possible, for battery health reasons as well as efficiency reasons, you'll want to plug in such a way that you'll find the car has very recently finished charging before using it. Because any trip out should be well planned right now, either of the following two methods should work well. Method number one is plugging in your car a few hours before you know you'll be leaving. I find with my Model S that the rule of thumb when using a 40 amp power source is that I'll recover about 10% of my battery for every hour I charge. If I've dropped to 50% and I charge to an 80% limit, this means that if I plug in 3 hours before I leave, I should be set to go with an 80% battery. The other way to do this is by using Tesla's scheduled departure feature. If you know you plan to go to the grocery store at noon, simply set noon as your departure time at any time before your trip that will give you enough time to complete the charge, plug in your car, and let it worry about the rest. The video goes on to give some other nice tips about ensuring you monitor your tires, as well as interior tips, so despite my disagreement on its main topic, there are other bits worth checking out as you look to maintain your Tesla during these stay-at-home orders. That will do it for today's show. Thanks to all my patrons supporting the show at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. And as always, a special shout out to all the super patrons supporting the show at the $10 plus level. They are Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, William Henry Crew III, Dorian Steve Guberman, Ralph and Cheryl Waterhouse, Megawatt Photovoltaic Development, Todd Sullivan, Mitch Long, Zortec LED Canada, Morven Ogg, Raymond and Deborah Malkowitz, T-Sportline, Vicky Kirk, Ricky Johnston, Nathan Garza, Ed Patterman, Sunil Joseph, and Joy Rodriguez. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits and use the hashtag AskTeslaTidbits if you'd like your question to be considered for the show. Until next time, keep it charged and hit the road.